Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Christiana. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a mitten fingerless glove, and I'll be showing you how to make it from non-stretchy fabric. So I'm going to be showing you how to draw up the pattern, and then I'll show you the sewing process. Alright, so let's get started. First you take the piece of paper and then you fold it in half. After that, you place your hand on the paper, making sure that your pointing finger is parallel to the fold of the paper and that your bone, which is below the thumb bone, is popping out at the fold of the paper. And then you spread your thumb out wide. The four fingers are not going to be spread out wide, they're just going to be placed comfortably on the paper. And then you take a pencil and then you mark the length of your fingerless glove. I want mine to be up until there, so I'm just going to mark it on the paper. And then I'm going to mark the length of my glove on the arm. I want it until there, so I'm just going to mark that on the paper right here. Okay, so now I'm going to be drawing out the space between my middle finger and my pointing finger, and then I'm drawing out the side of my hand. Okay, after that I'm going to mark this bone here, which is below the little finger. I'm just gonna mark it there. And then I'm gonna mark this curve which is above the wrist. I'm just gonna mark it there. Now I'm going to tilt my hand like this at an angle between 90 and 80 degrees. And then I'm gonna indicate the length of my thumb by marking the position of this bone on the fold, and also by marking the position, this position, where my hand and the fold of the paper meets. And then after that, the tracing of the hand is done. So now I'm going to accurately draw up the pattern which is created from tracing the hand. So I start off by drawing a 90-degree line that's going to run along the fold here towards this side. So I'm going to use my 90-degree ruler. After that, I'm going to draw a straight line through this point that's gonna run straight through the traced line. And then I'm gonna draw a straight line from that point to that point. And then I'm going to draw a straight line through this tracing. So now I'm just going to indicate my 90-degree mark over there. And then I'm going to draw a 90-degree line from the fold towards this side. I'm going to use my 90-degree ruler to draw the line. Okay, so now I'm gonna open my paper. And then I'm going to find the center between this point and the fold. This point and the fold. I'm gonna find the center of that. And then I'm just gonna mark it, and then I'll draw a line through that center point. And then I'm gonna name this line the excess line. So now I'm going to transfer this point and this point to the excess line. So I'm gonna use my 90-degree angle ruler to do so. And then I'm gonna name this point point 1 and this point point 2. And then I'm going to place my hand back on the pattern again, making sure that this bone below the thumb is on point 2 and that point 1 is popping from underneath my hand. Okay, so now I'm going to mark this bone below the thumb on the paper. And then I'm going to mark this point, point 3. So now I'm going to transfer point 3 to the other side of the excess line. So I'm going to just draw a line through point 3 to the other side of the excess line. I'll just use my 90-degree angle to do so. Okay, so now I'm going to be mirroring point 3 to the other side of the excess line. And then I'm going to mark this point, point 4. Okay, and the center point between point 1, 3, 2, and 4, I'm going to mark it point 5. Okay, so now I'm going to draw an oval through point 1, 3, 2, and 4. I'm just highlighting my fold line so that you see it clearly. Okay, so this is my fold line. So now I'm going to determine the center of the curve between 1 and 4 and 1 and 3. So I'm going to use my measuring tape to do that. Okay, I'm going to mark from 3 to 1. And it is 4 centimeters. So half 4 centimeters is 2 centimeters. So I'm just going to mark the 2 centimeters center point on both sides. Okay, so now I'm gonna be drawing curves from point 5 to the new points that I've marked. Okay, the reason for that shape is gonna allow the thumb to move comfortably within the glove. Okay, so I'm gonna fold my paper again. Now I'm adding movement allowance on the side of the pattern. So I'm going to extend these 2 points outward. And so the movement allowance from this point outward is 0.5 centimeters. And then the movement allowance from this point outward is 1.5 centimeters. Okay, now I'm just gonna join the points. Okay, so now I'm adding a 1 centimeter hemming allowance on the top length of my glove pattern. Okay, I'm also gonna add a hem on the bottom length, but before I do that, I just want to curve out these corners so that I have them more curvy. Okay, and I'm also just gonna curve this corner on the bottom. Alright, so now I can add my hem, and the hemming allowance is gonna be 1 centimeter. After that, I'm adding seam allowance only on this side of my pattern, and the seam allowance is 0.3 centimeters. So now I'm going to draw up the pattern of the thumb. So I'm going to fold a piece of paper in half. And then I'm going to place the side of my thumb on the fold of the paper. And then I'm going to be marking this bone, which is at the bottom of the thumb, this bone here on the paper. And then I'm gonna also mark the length of my fingerless glove. I want it over there, so I'm just gonna mark that on the paper. Alright, then I'm going to draw a line, a straight line from this point towards this side, and I'm gonna use my 90-degree ruler to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to place my hand back on again as it was, and then I'm going to determine the width of my pattern. The width of my pattern is half the circumference of the thumb, so I'm just going to roll my thumb until half its circumference, and then I'm going to mark the length, that width on the paper. Alright, so right now I'm just gonna draw up a rough sketch of the pattern. Okay, so after this I'm adding a hemming allowance of 0.5 centimeters on the top length of my pattern. Okay, then I'll just cut out my pattern. So after drawing up this pattern, you need to check if it's gonna work. So I'm going to do that by placing the pattern on my thumb. Okay, and this pattern I can see that it's not curving the way I want it to curve. So I'm just gonna do rough markings on the pattern to indicate how I want the curve to run. Okay, then after that I'm going to highlight the curve that I've marked. Alright, so I'm gonna be cutting off this part from the pattern. Alright, there we have it. The thumb pattern is done. So I'm just gonna label hemming allowance and then thumb pattern. Okay, so the pattern is done. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it out. And I'm also just gonna cut out this shape. Alright guys, so in part 2 of this tutorial, I'm going to be making the mitten fingerless glove with this pattern. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss part 2, which is just going to be the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.